It was a cold evening in the heart of Rio de Janeiro. The city, usually alive with vibrant colors and lively music, was now wrapped in shadows. Detective Lucas Ferreira, known for his sharp mind and unshakable focus, sat in his small office, sipping his black coffee. The clock on the wall ticked away as he stared out the window, lost in thought. A soft knock on the door interrupted his silence. He turned his head to see a young woman standing in the doorway. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with fear. She wore a red dress that seemed out of place in the gloom of the office. "Detective Ferreira?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Yes." "Come in," Lucas said, motioning to the chair across from his desk. The woman entered hesitantly, sitting down with a nervous glance around the room. She took a deep breath before speaking again. "I need your help, detective. My name is Claire Moreira. My brother, Rio Moreira, has gone missing, and I believe someone is after him." Lucas raised an eyebrow. He had heard of Rio Moreira before. He was a well-known businessman with connections to both the legitimate world and the darker side of Rio. Rio had a reputation for making enemies, and his sudden disappearance wasn't something to take lightly. "What happened to him?" Lucas asked, leaning forward in his chair. Clara hesitated, her hands shaking. He was last seen at a gala 2 nights ago. He was talking to a man I didn't recognize. I tried to find him after the party, but he was gone. I called his phone, but there was no answer. It's as if he vanished." Lucas thought for a moment, his mind racing through the possibilities. Rio's connections could be dangerous, and a missing businessman wasn't always a simple case. He knew he had to act quickly before things got worse. "I'll look into it," Lucas said finally. "Tell me everything you know about the people he was involved with. Anyone who might want to hurt him." Claire nodded, her face pale with worry. "I don't know much, but there were rumors about Rio and a dangerous group of criminals. They're involved in smuggling and illegal deals. Rio always seemed to be in too deep, but I never thought it would come to this." "All right," Lucas said, standing up. "I'll start with his last known location. You stay here and try to remember anything else that could be useful. Don't speak to anyone about this. It's better if you stay out of sight for now." Claire nodded again, her eyes filled with gratitude and fear. Lucas grabbed his coat and headed out into the night. The gala had been held in a grand mansion on the outskirts of Rio. It was a beautiful place, surrounded by tall iron gates. The building itself looked like something out of an old mystery novel, with marble columns and a grand staircase. But there was something off about it now, something Lucas couldn't quite place. He walked inside, past the empty rooms and the remnants of the party. The grand chandelier still hung from the ceiling, but it seemed almost out of place in the stillness of the mansion. Lucas moved cautiously, following the faint scent of perfume in the air, and stopped in front of a large wooden door. It was slightly ajar. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was dimly lit, with only a few candles casting flickering shadows on the walls. At first, Lucas didn't see anything unusual, but then his eyes fell on a large red stain on the floor. It was blood. His heart raced. He knelt down, examining the spot closely. The blood was still fresh, and the way it had pooled in a corner suggested someone had been dragged. Lucas stood up, scanning the room for any other signs. He noticed a broken glass on the floor, a small clue that Rio had been here recently. But what had happened after? Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. He spun around, ready for anything. A man in a dark suit stood in the doorway, his expression cold and unreadable. "You shouldn't be here, detective," the man said, his voice smooth like velvet. This is a dangerous place for someone like you. Lucas narrowed his eyes. Who are you? The man smiled, his teeth white against his dark skin. Let's just say, I'm someone who knows what happened to Rio. If you want answers, you'll have to do things my way. The man stepped forward, his gaze intense. You see, Rio made a lot of enemies. He was reckless, and now he's paying the price. You're in over your head, Ferreira. But if you insist on finding him, I'll help you. But be warned, this isn't just a simple missing person case. There's more at play here than you realize. Lucas stood tall, his mind working quickly. This was the break he had been waiting for. But he also knew he had to be careful. The man before him was dangerous, and getting too close could be deadly. I don't trust you, Lucas said firmly. But I don't have a choice. The man chuckled, his eyes flashing with amusement. Smart. I like that. As they left the mansion together, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that he was walking into a much bigger conspiracy than he had expected. Whoever was behind Rio's disappearance wasn't just after money, they were after something far more valuable. And Lucas Ferreira would stop at nothing to uncover the truth.